We are back.
We're back, and better than ever.
Holy cow, that was awesome.
Your enthusiasm is a little overwhelming, actually.
I know. See, now, so I understand that we had a little bit of audio issues.
At the beginning,
At the beginning. So we need to revisit why we don't have someone very special to IBTV with us. Not that I don't love you being here, because I do.
Oh, no, and I'm very happy to be here with you as well, of course. But this is something different, of course.
It is something different. So the reason why we had these 867-530.
I'm still not doing that.
I know. He said he wasn't going to do it. Anyway, Chris Banks, who we miss very, very much, and hopefully you're tuning in. I know you are, probably is.
Because he missed the first part, he said. He texted us afterwards and said, bring the faces back.
I know.
Like, okay,
so we miss you. He was not able to join us this week. So we're pinch hitting as well as we can. But Chris, definitely miss you. So hope you're doing okay.
Just so you know, this is also, if we ever say anything inappropriate, this comes up first because you know he's the guy who would do it.
I know, right?
So if I do the Bryant Gumbel thing and say, yes, I'm not wearing any pants, then that's a Chris Banks statement.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely
All right,
true.
so wasn't that great?
It was good.
It was fantastic. I hope you guys all loved everything. I mean, there's so where do we start? Really, where do we start? It was so much good stuff.
I personally really enjoyed Kevin Quinn's presentation because it gets into a lot of the meat of what we're doing and even some things that we're trying that are kind of new. You know, some innovations that are going into the product or that we're thinking about going into the product and looking for feedback on.
What about the phone call, though?
Who
do you think the phone call was from? The fact that his phone rang. And the thing that's so funny, for those of you who may not know Kevin, his phone rings constantly. Was that Chris calling him? Maybe,
I called him.
Maybe Chris was calling him. I wouldn't doubt it, actually.
It wouldn't surprise me a bit.
No, Kevin's phone rings all the time. Like, you cannot be in a meeting or having a conversation with Kevin without his phone ringing. So I thought it was absolutely hysterical that his phone rang.
Not surprising at all.
Wouldn't you think that maybe you would maybe turn off your phone? Like, you would turn off your phone.
I would turn off my phone. My phone's off right now, in fact. No, not Kevin. Go
so
figure.
Anyway, so now this is going to be like the question.
Excuse me, I'll just be here for a second. Hang on.
Anyway.
Who was the call? I want to know. Everybody wants to know.
It's interesting.
We will find out and we'll report back to you at the final wrap-up. So stay tuned for the final wrap-up. We'll find out who that call was and see if it was really worth interrupting something for hundreds of people on stage.
I think it's pretty funny. But the other thing I think is funny is that you are saying that you like the Web Focus presentation. Because you are typically Mr. Iway, right?
Well, so my background...
I'm really shocked, that you're like, wow, the thing that I enjoyed was Kevin Quinn's presentation.
Not shocking. Melissa's alluding to the fact that my background is very strongly on the Iway side of the house. I've been here for 17 years. I was with the data warehouse division. I was a data guy. I've been a data guy for almost my entire career here. But I know exactly what Jeremy is going to say because I know enough about the Iway side that I sense all that. There's a huge amount of innovation that's come out of the Iway division over the course of the past probably 6 to 8 months, where we've launched new product, where we've come to market with brand new offerings, where we've explained positions to people when they look back and they say, wow, I never realized you guys could do that. So that's very cool. And Jeremy's totally going to kick my butt now if you say, oh yeah, you liked the Web Focus thing, right?
I'm going to tell him too.
Yeah, he'll know. So a ton of great stuff going on there. With Kevin, there's a lot of cool visuals going on. There's a lot. I'll tell you one of the things I like. Natural language processing, right? On the input, I want to ask a question in English or French or Latin or Italian or whatever you want. Not very many people speak Latin, but whatever. And then on the back end, instead of getting some information-heavy thing, I get actual words back out to me. It's very interesting, and it's interesting to me also that Information Builders, which has had a strong capability for language for 41 years, is now wrapping it with language as well. It's pretty cool stuff.
No, it's very cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
So,
personally, I liked Jeremy, I liked your presentation the best.
Which is funny because you only recently had Iway responsibility put under your belt. Too funny.
Anyway, what about Tommy Tutone?
Tommy Tutone was very
cool.
So, interesting fact, the lead singer's name is not Tommy Tutone, not even as a stage name. His name is Tommy Heath. And he's actually, Mike said, yeah, you'll see him later at sessions because he wants to see what's going on here. That's actually true. He's like a computer programmer analyst out of Oregon.
Really?
Yes. So he'll just be hanging around taking sessions on over the course of the summer.
And I was hoping maybe we could get him on. I don't know. Maybe
We'll
we
see
could
if we
get
can
him
do
with
that.
us. We're gonna work on that.
He's going to be back on stage, I think, like to wrap it up. So maybe he'll come on during the wrap up then too.
It was fun. It was a great way to start.
It was good. It was
a
good.
great way to kick everything off.
Absolutely.
And Gerry welcoming everyone. I'm glad he was at least had a voice, enough that he could come on stage and welcome everybody, because it's so important to him. Our customers are the most important thing to Gerry.
He's a rock star to them, and he loves his customers. Summit is really his place, you know. I'm actually going to introduce somebody in a few minutes, and I'll say this while I'm on stage, but we're so focused on how our customers feel, how they're doing, what we're doing with them, and so on, that for him to not be able to speak to customers as well is actually kind of hard for him. So I feel bad for the guy.
I do too.
But it was nice that his voice came back enough. It was actually much better what I heard there than yesterday. It was good that he could get back on stage and at least welcome people to Summit. So that was good.
At least kick it off.
Absolutely.
Right? Mark Smith was tweeting from Vantana, and I loved one of his tweets that he was tweeting during the session, talking about, I don't think there's any other company that's still considered a leader today as we are, as vibrant and as relative in the industry as we are, 41 years in.
A lot of companies aren't even around, People who were top leaders, whatever, 25 years ago, not here anymore.
Not here anymore.
But we're still
to
here.
have that CEO get on stage and welcome everybody here after 41 years is pretty amazing. So I loved Mark's tweet on that.
I am checking my phone because I'm looking for people who are tweeting to Info Builders. That's our handle, INFO. BLDRS, Info Builders is our Twitter handle, so please feel free to tweet out to us. Or if you're an Instant Messenger user, you can use AOL Instant Messenger to talk to IBTV Live, and we will get your information, requests, questions, whatever they may be over that communications medium as well. So when I'm looking at my phone, I'm not doing a Kevin Quinn. It's not about that kind of thing.
Can we talk about your phone for a minute?
No,
we
really
do need to talk about Jake's phone.
We really can't.
So, Jake, I think you are the last official BlackBerry user.
No, I know of two more. I know of two more.
Oh, really? Who else?
Yes. I'm not going to say because it's embarrassing. They probably don't want to be outed on global TV, even if it's just an internet stream.
But something happened recently to your BlackBerry, and I really think that it was kind of kismet, right?
I'm gonna defend the phone. I don't feel like I should have to adjust to a machine. The machine that I have adjusts well to me, so I like it. And unfortunately, I like it well enough that I have it with me everywhere, including at my son's soccer game where I slipped on the bleachers and shattered the screen. And I've had this phone for like 5 years, and the screen's been fine, and now it's a wreck.
And you're still
It's so bad. Because I just before I came to Summit, I don't have time to order a new one.
So the question is, are you getting another BlackBerry, or are you finally using this as a sign that? Because I have to admit, I had a BlackBerry.
You liked it back in the day.
I did, and I finally made the change to Samsung a couple years ago, and could not have been happier. So what's the call? What do you think?
So I have 5 smartphones in my house. 4 of them are iOS, and 1 of them is an Android. And I hate them all, actually, because I like what I'm used to. Having said that, I'll probably go Android. I'm not sure which one yet, but I'll probably end up going Android.
News.
Yeah, big news. So exciting. This is what you wanted to hear. This is why you tuned in to IBTV, right?
Sorry. So, by the way, if you weren't able to hear us early on, we are live from Reno, Nevada.
Yes, we are.
And it's really exciting because we've never had a summit
without Chris Banks
in Reno, and we miss you, Chris. We miss you. We've never had a summit in Reno.
First time.
So it's a first-time location, and I was saying earlier that a lot of the customers that I've spoken with, they like the idea of going someplace new.
Yeah.
And the venue is fantastic. The Grand Sierra Resort is where we are. The venue, the theater venue, is...
The theater's outstanding.
I mean, it's probably one of the prettiest venues we've ever done a keynote. And the Killers,
Killers will be on Thursday.
Chris, our producer.
I just saw Santana's going to be here in September. They just had Michael McDonald here a couple of days ago.
I heard he was great.
In the same place where we're currently holding keynotes. It's that good of a theater. It's like a real theater.
It's really, and I think I'm going to the Killers on Thursday.
We're getting something here.
For the customers that are here, if you can hear me, the customers that are here, the ones that tweet the most over the course of Summit, win free tickets to the Killers.
That's a great thing that we should talk about.
Free tickets to the Killers.
I can't hear what he's saying.
So the customers, we're running a Twitter contest.
Yeah.
So the customers that tweet the most during the course of IB Summit, which the hashtag IB Summit, we're giving away tickets.
2 tickets to Killers live here in the theater that we're in right now.
All right, tweet like crazy.
Not that I even know who the Killers are, but I think I know one of their songs.
Right, so that's enough, right?
Yeah, so that's enough.
See them in a great venue. So It's fine. It's good. So
right.
yes, tweet like crazy. Absolutely.
So what else? You've been making some notes because I have some fun that I'd like to get to, but I know you have some serious things that you'd like to cover first.
They're not serious, and I don't need to cover them, except maybe to delay whatever you're planning because I have no idea what it is. Just you talked about some of the things we want to see. We've got a great set of analysts coming up. We've got Boris Evelson's here. We've got Wayne Eckerson here. We've got Mark Smith from Ventana. We had originally the guy from Gartner who was here. So what's interesting is
I think we should tell everyone.
I don't have a problem with telling people.
I think we should definitely.
So the guy who ran the Magic Quadrant that elevated, shall we say, one particular vendor pretty strongly in that market.
Strongly. I'm not really sure. I think he began with a T.
Just went to that vendor.
I know.
So, and he's no longer here. He was slated to speak, and he's not here.
Well, I'm certainly glad that he decided to go to that company a week before Summit as opposed to a week after Summit.
For sure.
Because that would have really been bad had he come to Summit and then gone to that company.
Can't blame somebody.
I mean, you completely flip the quadrant on its head, literally, in favor of this company, and then he decides to go work for them. Huh. Imagine that. Interesting little.
Can't blame a guy for making. I can blame a guy for making Jimi Hendrix noises over the microphone. Can't blame a guy for making career decisions, but it does it's a little
interesting.
It's a little interesting.
Yes. So there we go. So it's out there.
It's out there.
It's a fact.
So anyway,
what else?
Those are some of the major things I wanted to mention. Just the analyst stuff that we've got going on is really good.
As Mike said on the stage, we have the best ones.
We
do.
The best ones.
Not that but they really are great. They really are, and we really love having them year after year after year. And I think a couple of them were just at the Teradata conference.
Yep. We've got a couple who just flew in from Teradata to here.
And then they flew in. Some of them didn't get in until 2 o'clock.
I think Boris didn't get in until 2, and I don't know who else did, but Boris Evelson from Forrester. And then I think Wayne Eckerson is leaving from here to go to Teradata.
Oh, going back?
Yeah, so that there's definitely a little bit of a conflict between them. And we lost a couple analysts we'd like to have here, just because the scheduling conflict's already committed. What can you do? So,
but it's great that they make the effort to be here, and we love having them.
A lot of them are here every year. They're experts. They know what we do. They know what our customers do. They get really solid feedback from our customers. And one of the things about Summit, if you come here, you'll see that we don't steer people. If you're a customer who wants to talk to other customers, if you're an analyst who wants to talk to other customers, if you are a customer who wants to speak to an analyst, we're not going to steer you to say, here's the exact path you're going to walk to make sure that you only talk to the happiest people. We say, look, it's a rich environment. Come in and learn. Talk to people about what you want to hear. You'll hear some things that are good, some things that are bad. You'll hear things that have been very positive. You'll hear things that have been challenges. But the point is, you'll hear what you really need to know. And that's not true for most other vendors. Very often, a software company will give you a very well-defined path. That's not what we're about, and I love that about this conference.
Absolutely.
It's a really good place.
We hear that a lot from reps that actually come and join us from other companies. We hear that exact same thing, and when they work at other high-tech companies, they're not even allowed to invite prospects
The reason we're
Summit.
getting this look back and forth is because Tommy Heath is here.
He's
going to come up on stage.
We thought maybe he would.
Tommy Tutone.
All right, let's make some room.
Here. Hey, Tommy, how are you? Nice to meet you. Jake.
Hi, how are you? It's such a nice to meet Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
And this is Jake.
Here, let's pull in a chair for you.
Yeah, we'll put you right in the middle.
Very ad hoc here, very ad hoc.
Tommy, I assume you know how to use one of these.
So
Can you hear me?
this is great.
Oh, it's for me.
You need that. Yeah, so we were actually talking about you, of course, earlier, and we were like, we may be able to get him on stage with us. So thank you so much for joining us. So this is called IBTV. This is our internal streaming. So the people that can't be here know what's going on, since this is our biggest event that we do all year long. But we would love having you.
Well, let's do it every year.
I think it would be great. I think it would be fantastic. I think you're already building a fan base out there.
I need one of those fans.
All right, so this is Chris. we'll fan Tommy with Chris. Chris is usually a host of ours, and he wasn't able to be with us, so we're paying homage to that.
All right.
So, how was it performing and being our opening act?
I didn't think we were going to be able to do that at 8:20 in the morning. I did it in church a couple of times, but never anywhere else. But I think it went pretty good.
It sounded great.
Got to tell I'm a storyteller, so a lot of times it's so busy rocking and rolling that I don't think anybody can hear, but I got that across, and we got the groove and had a great time. Everybody seemed to like it.
So tell us a little bit about, I mean, I have to ask you because it's a song that everybody knows. So what's the background on that song?
That is Jenny's phone number.
And it really was a Jenny?
It really was a Jenny. Jenny and I think she's real. My two partners, or my partner, this other guy who wrote the song, says she's not real, but Jenny and I think that she's real, folks.
All right.
And she ran the sound at a club in Carmel, down the street from, what's his name? Clint's house, I think. A great club back in the 80s called The Club. And we met there, and she gave me her number to give to my guitar player. And
Wait, she gave you the number to give to your guitar player?
yeah, so I'm
You were the middleman.
I was, so I wrote it on the bathroom wall instead.
That's awesome. Well, it's a great
I was
song.
kind of obnoxious back then, folks.
So we understand that in addition to music, that you actually have tech in your background.
Yeah, and it's database too. I'm a database nerd. I have a day job writing applications. I'm just finishing up a third-party logistics package I wrote for a guy. Thought it would take 2 years, and it took 4. So here.
That's usually
I'm looking
how
for another
IT
job,
projects
so
go.
how do I apply for a job here?
I think we can definitely work
I'm
something
really
out.
good at queries. I'm one of the best SQL query writers in the world, besides singing.
Are you
What do
planning
you have
on?
to say for yourself?
You can go to some of our sessions if you'd like.
I'm planning on going to
Are
some
you?
breakouts. Although my boss just called me. I'm fixing some at work now backstage.
So you're actually doing programming from backstage?
Yeah.
I love it.
I ran,
Gotta pay the
I
bills,
was on
right?
a world tour way back. I retired from the software business in 2006 and went back in about 2 years ago. But back in that 99, remember before the dot bomb? I was on a world tour while we were running, when they deregulated all the telephone companies. I was in a company that read everybody's data. And right when I got off stage, I was supposed to have already sent the stuff from here and there, and I would check in and make sure everything worked. So I multitask.
So are you still playing, obviously? So where do you play these days?
I play a lot of these 80s shows, but to me, I don't consider myself an 80s. I mean, I know everybody remembers my songs in the 80s, but I sang the songs I wrote in the 80s. And those songs we play tonight, except for Jenny, I wrote them in the last few years. So I get to do my own stuff about half the time, and then I'm a guest on other people's things. And I play acoustic things now, and which I never did for years, but in the last 5 years I've become the old storyteller. So I started playing bonfires, backyards. So if you have a big party in your backyard, call me.
You know who to go to.
Yeah.
So Tommy, where do you call home?
I live in Oregon.
In Oregon? In
Yeah.
Portland? Or?
Yeah, in Portland.
Oh, what an awesome place.
Where's this company's headquarters?
So we're headquartered in Manhattan, in New York City.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of us are from
I'm there. A lot.
Yeah, well,
My kid goes to Columbia.
Oh, is that right?
One of my kids.
All right. Yeah, so we're headquartered there, but we have offices across worldwide. We have one of our reps, though, works in Portland, lives and works in Portland, and covers those customers for us. So we may have to...
let me meet him.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely do that.
I get bored just playing rock and roll. Tutone means I'm kind of schizo. So I had this nerd side. I put on my nerd glasses and take off my hat.
That's awesome. Well, we're so happy to have you.
Right.
You really
Glad to be
did
here.
add a lot to the opener, and everyone's buzzing about it. All the people are buzzing about it online. They're tweeting about it. It's on Facebook. So we're really happy to have you.
Tweet your love. That'd be a good song, don't you think?
I think so. You writing it?
We're working on it right now. We'll publish it, okay?
There you go.
Love it. So
I have
hey,
one of these?
you may, absolutely. Go right ahead.
Great. All right.
You want to take Chris home with you?
Yes.
All right, there you go.
Wow.
I'm sure he'll love that.
I don't know how. Maybe that didn't come out right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Tommy.
Really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming up. That was awesome. Very, very cool.
Tommy Heath, ladies and gentlemen,
Very
lead singer,
cool.
guitarist, songwriter for the for Tommy Tutone. And look around. Is he saying look around?
I think we're
it's because
scanning
there's
the group
scanning,
now.
seeing all the people who are here.
Absolutely.
It's so.
So that was very cool. I wasn't sure if he would do it or not. So I mean, I didn't, but there he was.
Just a real guy too.
I know, right?
Just a real guy. I saw him signing autographs out here just a few minutes ago too. People are excited to see him.
People are
and he's getting
excited.
waves from off stage and stuff like that. People are getting their coffee and waving to Tommy. It's good
Very
stuff.
cool. Very, very cool.
Good stuff.
So we were talking earlier. I don't know, what were we even talking
I
about?
don't
mean,
remember.
that totally messed us up. But it was all good. All
Totally
good.
worth it.
No,
What's this game? You got a game to play. What's
we
this
do have a game to play, but I'm not ready to play it yet.
Oh, okay.
No, I remember we were talking about how most company make sure that they really shepherd their customers and clients through
that's
their
right.
users conference.
Right, absolutely.
And we had heard through a lot of reps that worked other places that have joined us that is definitely the case, and it's so not the case here.
Not at all.
To your point, to the extent where we have a lot of prospects that we invite to
That's
join
actually
us
true,
at
too.
Summit. So it's not just a customer meet, it's for prospects as well. And one of the things that we do is we turn them loose. We're not with them every step of the way and making sure they only talk to certain people. We really say, hey, enjoy Summit, talk to whomever you'd like, because overwhelmingly they're going to walk away, and they have year in and year out with this positive
Yes.
feel and this positive experience around who we are.
We
And
are
it is a
at our
special
best
thing.
here. We really are at our best here. We're here with the customers who are using our software. We're here with people that we've known for 15 or 20 years in many cases, right? I mean, I've seen faces today that I've seen over and over and over again for my entire career at Information Builders. It's the kind of place it is, and that's the
Very
kind
cool.
of loyalty our employees have. It's the kind of loyalty our customers have. It's the kind of loyalties we have to each other. So it's really cool to see. And I think, to your point, prospects get that. By the time they're here and they see us, they don't get the dog and pony show feel. They get the sense of almost family that you get out of Information Builders that you really don't get elsewhere.
Yeah, that's very true.
very
I don't
important to our
think that
culture.
we've ever had a prospect come to Summit that hasn't ultimately become a customer.
Probably true.
Right? I mean, the fact that they're willing to come and invest the time is certainly a good sign and
Right.
all that. But still, they walk away feeling so good that we typically turn them into a customer pretty
Yeah.
immediately after the
Pretty
fact.
quickly.
So that's great. I wish everyone could be here. I really do, because it is such a great event. I know for those of us that do come year in and year out, it's a lot of work.
Yep.
Leading up to it, it's a pretty crazy week. But I know that it always gives me like that shot in the arm of like, wow,
It's exhausting, but it's a really good exhausting,
Oh,
right?
it's
By the
such
time
a
you're done
great-
with it, you're like, okay, that was such a week very well spent. And I think everybody feels it.
Yeah. So in addition
Can you
to,
guys talk a little bit about what's coming up?
I'm sorry?
What's coming up?
Oh, about what's coming up? Do we need to talk about that? They're going to see it. Would you like to talk about what's coming up? Well, you're introducing the next session.
Trailer for a movie. I am introducing a panel that's coming up in a couple of minutes. Maida Brown is a data scientist who's moderating, and we have a panel, what we call our innovation panel. It's a set of customers who have done interesting things using our technology, have had specific problems to solve, and have solved them using our technologies. And it really gives people a sense of the kinds of things that people can do that they might not be thinking about doing that add real value. So I think those panels always get very high marks, and
they're the best.
and we had breakfast this morning with the whole panel. It sounds like it's going to be a really exciting time. So that's going to be a good one coming up shortly.
Customers always love hearing from other customers.
Absolutely, it's the best.
I think those are typically our most popular tracks. And
Yep.
we have, I think, at least one, maybe two tracks that are just customer presentations, one after another after another.
Yep.
So it's always great to be able to have them on the big stage, and everyone gets to hear them. And I'm cracking up because Tommy Tutone is walking around with Chris Banks' head. I mean, he really is. He's
Where
out
is he?
there.
Does he actually have it right
well,
there
he
now?
was he's grabbing a cup of coffee there, and he has, and I think
Oh,
he
you're
may
right, he does.
be
That's
taking it
hilarious.
up on the big stage with him. What do you think?
That would be very
I think
funny.
he may have. I think he may.
It'd be
have
hilarious
a
if he
plan
does
for
that.
But yes,
We'll have to
Chris,
see.
you are now officially
With Tommy.
with Tommy.
Tommy's taking you home tonight.
So anyway,
He's got your number.
So that's our producer wanted us to cover what's coming up. I think we've done that. I think it would be fun to play a little game.
Okay.
As we're kind of wrapping up, right?
Okay.
So this is something, homage again to Mr. Banks, because he always does this to me, but I know a lot of you don't know Jake very well, right?
I'm kind of a behind-the-scenes guy. in
You
most
are,
respects.
and it's really interesting because I was doing a little research for this project, and I found out that a lot of people don't really know you.
Okay.
I mean, they know you, but they don't really know you. So I thought it would be good to play a little game, so people could get to know you.
I really have no idea what's coming here either.
Better.
You're making me nervous. Okay,
I
let's
know,
see what
it's
you got,
kind of
Melissa.
fun, right? It's
Let's
kind
see
of
what
fun.
you got.
So the first
This
thing
is Turnabout, by the way. I'd like to point out that this
'Cause
guy
he has no
normally
idea.
does it to her.
I know, and it's kind of fun being on this side
I'm
of it,
sure
I have
it
to
is.
admit. All right, so here's the first one. 9, 10, 11, or 12. So what's the correct number? And then you need to tell everybody what this is.
The correct number is 10,
10.
and that's the number of children I have. We hit double digits almost 2 years ago with my youngest son, Emmett. So there's a whole list of questions that come along with this, and I literally have an FAQ like in my head. Yes, just one wife and one husband. It's not a blended family. No twins. Just every 2 years, pretty consistent. Yes, we do have other hobbies. We drive the airport super shuttle. It's the 15-passenger van, Chevy Express 3500. Catholic, not Mormon. There's a bunch of others too.
Those are
Yeah,
good.
So yeah, there
Now,
you
you
go.
just
We do have TV in the
had-
bedroom. That's another question I get a lot.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I wasn't
I
going
get
to
that
ask you that
question a lot.
question, but that's good to know.
get
Good
that
to
a
know. You just had a daughter graduate from college?
Yeah,
Yes?
my third child, who is my oldest daughter, just graduated. No, from high school.
From high school. All right, all right.
I've got an older son who's going to be a senior in college this year. The one in between them is autistic, so he's a special case. But yeah, so I've got all that higher education stuff cranking right now. It's going to be insane.
So how many kids will you have in college at one time?
I don't think we ever go more than 2 in college at a time.
That's not too bad. That's manageable, right? What is the spread of ages?
I'm going to work until I die. Just saying. Until the day I keel over, which might be sooner rather than later, I'll be working. It's about a 20-year time span. We've got my oldest is 21 and my youngest is almost 2.
All I can say is bless your wife. That's all
Yes,
I'm gonna
exactly.
say.
People ask me how I did it. The answer is I married well. I'm not kidding.
All right, so
Okay,
that was
so
good.
10, good.
All right, so next question.
Yes. Yale or Cornell?
Yale or Cornell?
Cornell.
So you graduated from Cornell.
Yes.
So you're Ivy League guy,
which
which I think is fascinating.
So the funny thing is, though, when you go to my brother puts it this way, he got advanced degrees. He says it's about advanced degrees, not Ivy League degrees. But the thing that most disabuses you of how important they are is actually getting one. Right, so I had a great time at Cornell. It's a very good school, tons of great things to learn there. I was an electrical engineer, graduated in January of '92, took 1 extra semester, ROTC if that matters. And yeah, it was a great school, loved it there. I think we have a reunion coming up then too. Or maybe it's even happening, yeah. So, good place.
Beautiful school, beautiful campus.
Ithaca, the slogan is Ithaca is gorgeous, and it's really true. Because of the gorges that they have, Gorges, but it really is a beautiful place. Beautiful place.
And you mentioned ROTC, so some may not know, but you did a stint in the military.
I was in the Marines for about 4 years after college, and I was a signals intelligence officer. Deployed for short periods of time to Saudi Arabia, to a couple of weeks to Korea. I got to see a little bit of the world, and the best thing about that of all was I lived in Hawaii for about 3 years.
Wow,
There's
that's nice.
no better duty station than Hawaii.
Very
You can
cool.
come home to it. Absolutely.
Well, thank you for your service.
Oh, please. Thank you.
That's awesome. Because I think he's being very humble, guys. I think he was kind of if I can say it on IBTV, you're kind of a badass. Yeah.
Not anymore. I haven't run since I left the Marines. You could kick my ass with a pencil. Here.
All right, we're going to save the rest of these until
We are.
later.
Okay.
But see, this is fun. It's a fun game. It's not that bad.
It wasn't as bad as the thing he did with like yellow is the new black or whatever. It's like
Yeah,
he
orange
did-
is the new black.
Orange is the new black. I knew that.
We're going to ask you about sports ball later.
Sports ball, flat sports puck, one of those things too. I get all those questions. Not much of a sports guy.
It's good.
You ask me about
I'm not
sports
either.
things.
No, I'm all good. I'm all good. So
We're
I
getting the
think we're
wrap-up
getting ready to
signal.
go, and you've got to go. You've got to make some introductions.
Well, there's going to be a comedian on in a couple of minutes, and then we'll do the introduction right after that.
Okay. Very
Everybody
good.
in
All right,
about
guys. We'll see you in a bit. Hang with
2
us.
hours, a little less.
Hang with us.
Okay, folks, please give it up for Greg Schwem.
Thank you very much, and a very good morning to the summit. How are you folks this morning? You're good? All right, well, I hope you're ready to laugh. That's what they told me to do. They said, and I want to commend information builders for that. They said, Greg, we thought maybe after the break we'd have a little fun, have a little comedy, and we want to do that because we want to let all of the attendees here know that we are a fun organization. We are not afraid to laugh at ourselves. So we don't want you to be afraid to poke a little good-natured fun at information builders, who we are, and the things that we do. And I said, well, that's great. Who are you and what exactly is it that you do? And they said, well, quite simply, Greg, we provide solutions for business intelligence, analytics, data integration, and data quality that help drive performance improvements and innovation, allowing companies to maximize their valuable information capital. And I got to tell you, once you hear something like that, woo, the jokes just write themselves now, don't they? I just texted my manager. I said, you're not going to believe this. Finally a chance to do all that valuable information capital material I have been stockpiling over the years. Believe it or not, I actually sort of get what Information Builders does. Most tech companies I work for, what they do is so complicated even the employees can't explain it. So they give me some really vague answer like, well, basically, Greg, our products solve the problems that keep you up at night. And I always go, oh, great, so if I partner with you, I can eat Indian food again. Is that what you're saying? That's good to know. You ever done this? You ever been at a party and someone comes up to you and they start talking and they know who you are, but you have no idea who they are, but you feel like you're supposed to know, so you feel like if you just keep asking them questions and talking, eventually it will come to you? That's kind of how I deal with tech companies. I feel like if I just keep talking and asking questions, eventually I'll figure out what it is they do, and lately that process has been getting me nowhere. The last tech company I worked for, I'm talking to the marketing director, and I go, well, so what's going on in the organization? What are you excited about this year? And she says, well, Greg, in 2016, it is our goal to transition from being a monolithic to an agile cloud organization. I go, oh, great. Why are you doing that? And she goes, well, because that's what everybody else is doing. Great. So you're adopting if our competitors jump off a building, we'll do it too. All right, I bet my mom knows what you people do. I don't know, you know what, I think I just don't quite understand the cloud. I know I'm supposed to, I know it's really cool. I did a show in San Antonio for 500 cloud computing administrators. And I mean, I know that's an important job, but I'm sorry, that sounds like the easiest job in the world, to be responsible for something that only exists in cyberspace. That sounds like a great job for a 23-year-old stoner, don't you think? Hey, Jared, where are those case files from 2004? They're all around you, man. They're in the cloud. You know what else in the cloud right now? Me, that's who. That was a weird group. That wasn't the weirdest group I've ever done. I did a show in Los Angeles for 1,000 human resource administrators. You think your job's tough? Try doing stand-up comedy for a group that is paid to suck the fun out of everything. So I'm actually a little bit surprised that Information Builders, that this is their mission statement up on their website. I just copied and pasted that. I'm surprised only because Information Builders is a New York City-based organization, and it has been my experience that people from New York City, they try to explain complicated subjects by equating them with movie scenes. Like, I kind of expected the folks at Information Builders to say, what do we do? Okay. You saw Goodfellas, right? Okay, remember that scene where they heisted the plane, okay, and they got all that money, but then the guy started spending it right away, and Robert De Niro didn't like that, so guys started getting whacked, okay, and they were getting whacked, like one guy got whacked in his bed, and then another guy got whacked in a meat locker, and then another guy got whacked in a Cadillac, and it was just automatic, boom, boom, boom. Okay, that's business intelligence right there, okay? Now, I ain't saying that's what we do, but you come over to the Information Builders booth, you ask for Richie Big Data D'Ambrazo, okay? Yeah, he's in public relations. He'll set you up. Yeah, you don't get that from Cognos or MicroStrategy, okay? Yeah, okay? I'm talking to you, okay? Yeah, the only way I think this would have sounded better is if a woman from the South had read it. Because Southern women make anything sound simple. A Southern woman would just go, okay, what does information builders do? Well, we provide solutions for business intelligence, analytics, data in it. Am I going too fast for you, darling? I've always decided, I think every financial institution should have a Southern woman on staff just to deliver bad news to their best customers. Like anytime there's a market correction, just get her on the phone. Hello, Mr. Johnson, this is Tiffany Sue from Merrill Lynch. Y'all might want to be aware that the market is plunging faster than a Georgia sunset. And you all know that Mercedes y'all bought last week? You might want to gas that up because you're going to be living in it this time next year. I like people from the South, I really do. I know that everybody thinks, oh, this is where the comedian busts on people from the South because that's what comedians do. No, I was in Nashville in January. Anybody here from Tennessee? We got any Nashville people? Really? Yeah, there you go, right there. Woo-hoo! Yeah, I like you guys. You don't do winter very well. I was there in January, and they were expecting, no kidding, they were expecting an inch of snow that night, and the mayor of Nashville had already declared a code red emergency. Yeah, I don't know what code red means. I think it means we have one plow and we're not sure where it is. The only city that does snow worse than Nashville is Atlanta. Anybody from Atlanta over here? Okay, I like Atlanta. I'm starting to like Atlanta again. I was a little annoyed at you guys 2 years ago. I get a little tired of hearing you bitching about the 2-inch blizzard that you had that paralyzed the city. Chicago, that's where I'm from, we got 8 feet of snow that winter. I'd come in one night, I'd snow blow 2 feet of it off my driveway. I'd come in, I flip on CNN. There's a guy from Atlanta brushing flakes off his suede coat going, this is a nightmare. We can't get our kids out of school. Remember that? You were really bummed because your children were trapped inside of the school, God forbid. Anyway, well, seriously, I want to thank Information Builders for having comedy because there's so many other types of speakers they could have had come out here. I always like to ask who they've had in years past because I always want to know like who my competition is, and sometimes I get really weird responses. I was in. Anybody here from Michigan? Where's my Michigan people? Okay, what part of Michigan are you from? Detroit, very good. All right. So I was doing a show in Grand Rapids, the Economic Council of Grand Rapids, like a Chamber of Commerce group. So they're all eating lunch, and I'm backstage. I'm talking to the guy that hired me. I go, by the way, who'd you have last year? He goes, Bono. Yeah, and I'm thinking, okay, there's like a guy who owns a bank. His name's Frank Bono, and he's really cool, so they just call him by his last name. No. They had Bono. So now I'm looking at this audience thinking, okay, how bad has the economic climate gotten in Grand Rapids, where in 1 year they went from rock music icon to guy we found on YouTube? And I said to the group, really, you had Bono? I go, what did Bono talk about? And the guy goes, I'm not sure, but it was awesome. That's how you're a rock star, man. When people don't even care what comes out of your mouth and you still get across-the-board excellence on the comment cards. So, well, anyway, I've had a chance to talk to you, some people, and wow, what a great group of people we got assembled here. People who are world leaders in their field. I mean, Information Builders is a world leader in their field. You people are all world leaders in your fields. Well, I think you are. That's the thing. Every company on their website says they're a world leader in something. I have done over 1,000 corporate shows. I have yet to work for the regional follower. It's true. Nobody's ever said to me, Greg, we're in 3rd place and going nowhere fast. We're very proud of that. You don't think there's talent in this room? Check this out. Information Builders has its own Wikipedia page. Some of their customers, Ace Hardware has its own Wikipedia page. Ford has its own Wikipedia page. MasterCard has its own Wikipedia page. That's very impressive. Well, it's impressive until you start surfing a little further and you see what else has its own Wikipedia page. For example, Naval Lint has its own Wikipedia page. So let's just everybody put our egos in check for the rest of this summit, will you? Let's embrace the fact that we are in beautiful Reno. I really do. I love coming to Reno. You know what's great about coming to Reno is it's got everything that Vegas has, and yet you just feel better. You feel sort of, I don't know, safer here. Like you're not going to get into any trouble. I don't understand why certain companies have their events in certain cities. Like I actually flew here directly from New Orleans. I had a show at 8 a.m. yesterday in New Orleans. Whole audience is entirely hungover. And because they were out in Bourbon Street last night, and I was too, I'll admit it, a little confession mode. I go out to Bourbon Street on Sunday night, I'm not doing this anymore. I have a couple of drinks, I come back to my hotel, this is outside my room. Yeah, and now I'm like, okay, what did I do with the baby? Everybody here staying at the Grand Sierra? Everybody here staying at the same hotel? Okay, hey, you want to do something really fun? Next time you go to a conference like this and you're all staying in the same hotel, try and convince people you have a much better room than they do. It's really easy. Just walk up to somebody and go, hey, have you checked in yet? Yeah, are both your fireplaces working? Because, you know, mine works on the lower level, but the one upstairs by the grand piano, I couldn't get that lit, and neither could the butler. I know this is a great hotel because I vetted it, because I stay in so many hotels, and I'm kind of a hotel snob, so I always try to, I pull the hotel up online just to kind of see what I'm getting myself into. And you can always tell when certain hotels are lying based on the photos that they put on their website. I'll give you a good example, okay? I'm down in Orlando not long ago, staying at this really nice hotel. I'm not gonna say what it is, okay? But this is a photo on their website. And I want you to take a good look at that. That is obviously a family returning from Disney World. Now, you know they're lying. Do you know why? Because nobody looks like that returning from Disney World. Especially the dads. You want to see a typical dad at the end of the day at Disney World? There you go, right there. Happy Father's Day. That was shot at Disney World. This guy just has this look on his face like, with the amount of money I'm wasting here, I could have gotten the other knee tattooed. Yeah. Anybody make a vacation out of this? Anybody like bring your spouse? Anybody done that? Nobody? Okay. See? Really? Did you? Okay, good for you. You know what's great about bringing your spouse on a business trip, sir? Where are you from, by the way? Chicago. Very good. At the city or the suburbs? Bert, which one? Oh, get out of here. You live right above me. Anyway, talk amongst yourselves, everybody, for just a second. He and I are going to bond. Okay. So, all right. So, you know, here's the best thing about bringing your spouse on a business trip is that it eliminates those uncomfortable phone calls home. Because when you call home, you can never allude to the fact that you're having any fun. Even if you have to lie through your teeth. When you call home, everything has to suck, doesn't it? Right? Your plane was late, they didn't have your room reservation, you waited for 4 hours, you finally got into your room, it reeks of smoke, there's no internet connectivity, you can't get a cell phone signal. And back me up on this, everybody. At this summit, all we're doing is working, right? Yeah, and sometimes that's not even enough. I called my wife in the middle of a 3-day bender in Vegas. I'm sorry, a 3-day conference in Vegas. She goes, so, what have you been up to? I go, well, let me tell you what I haven't been doing, honey. I don't know what it's like outside. I haven't been outside all day from 6 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. All I've done is work. I haven't even eaten. The only thing I've had to eat all day long is the mint on the pillow. Oh, you had a mint on your pillow. That's nice. You know what I had in my pillow this evening, Greg? Dog puke. That's what I had, okay? Some companies actually go all out, and they actually have breakout sessions for the spouses. I did this show out in San Francisco, and they had a flower arranging breakout. And they actually said in the program, they said, spouses, make sure you come to this because the creations that you make at this breakout will be used as the centerpieces at tonight's gala award ceremony. I'm like, oh, that's so cool to turn the spouses into the hired help. Hey Jennifer, you gonna go to that bussing tables breakout? So yeah, you've kind of got everything you want here. I mean, you got great food here. I mean, I love coming to these places because there's just food everywhere. I love to eat. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm from the Midwest. You know, we love to eat. My last show was in Wisconsin. I drove up there. You can always tell when you're getting close to Wisconsin because they start advertising food on the billboards. And it's very, very simple billboards. It's one word. It's just, brats, cheese, beer, fudge. I mean, if you like to eat and you're just learning to read, Wisconsin's a great state to live in. Wisconsin's the only state where they'll take two foods and smash them together to make a third food because they're still hungry. Yeah? There's this big outdoor music festival, Summerfest. You ever been to Summerfest? Yeah, so my sister calls me. She goes, you going to Summerfest this year? I go, I don't know. I was thinking maybe I would. She goes, well, if you go, you got to try the frachos. I go, the what? She goes, the frachos. It's a combination of French fries and nachos. Yum. Yeah. Call me after you've had your heart stroke, will you please? Yeah, but you people are here to learn. I think that's what's great about this. I mean, this is your event, right? This is your summit. And I've done enough of these shows where I am convinced that there is an association and therefore a meeting for every business. All right, I'm in Indianapolis not long ago. I'm doing a show for a pharmaceutical company, but we're sharing the hotel with these people, the National United Church Ushers Association of America. That was a 4-day conference. Apparently, there's a lot of new innovations in plate passing technology that needed to be unveiled. You know, my favorite part of that sign is the arrow telling you where the conference is. I was like, shouldn't there be somebody greeting you and escorting you to the conference? Isn't that kind of what they do? I think it's great that Information Builders had you all here. Being a tech company, they could have easily done this whole thing virtually. There's something I don't get. Virtual meetings. I don't understand that. Don't you think we spend enough time on the computer as it is? You ever done this? You ever spend so much time online that eventually you look at a website, you say, how did I end up here? And you have to retrace your steps. You're like, okay, I sat down about an hour ago to pay bills electronically. And then I saw one of those calculators that told me how much college was going to cost in 10 years. So I typed in some figures and I got really depressed at the results. So I started thinking about athletic scholarships. And that reminded me that the Cubs game was on. So I went over to ESPN.com to check the score. And I got into a chat room with a bunch of other Cubs fans. And one of them sent me a YouTube clip of Jake Arrieta's latest no-hitter. And I was watching it and it was set to music. And I really liked the song, but I didn't know who sang it. So I Googled the lyrics and that is why I'm on Justin Bieber's Twitter page. Okay, this is good. Makes sense. There's nothing wrong with a little face-to-face interaction every now and then. We forget that sometimes, people. Sometimes it's like we don't want to talk to one another. I was in Seattle. I flew to Seattle for a gig not long ago. That's a long flight from Chicago. I get there late at night. I'm exhausted. I check in. There's this kid behind the counter. He looks at my license. He goes, "You're from Chicago? What are you doing in Seattle?" I go, "Well, you know, I'm here for a meeting." He goes, "You came all the way to Seattle from Chicago just for a meeting? Can't you just, like, FaceTime?" I go, "Yeah, because that would really benefit the hotel industry now, wouldn't it?" I go, "Dude, don't talk yourself out of a career." You know? It's like, when you walk into a grocery store, a pig doesn't come running up to you and go, "Try the bacon, it's delicious." No, you got to motivate, man. This is these face-to-face, these one-on-one things. This is the best way to motivate people. Companies are always looking for ways to motivate each other, and sometimes you have great events like this. That's a good way. You know what is a weird way, and I'm seeing this all the time, is companies who put these motivational slogans, they slap them on the walls of their offices. You know, we only know one direction, forward. Success doesn't come to you, you go to it. We have no idea what this one means. This is all one company, by the way. I like this one. Don't let what we can't do interfere with what we can do. That is a great slogan. I think it would be a lot more impactful if it wasn't in the background during company donut day, wouldn't you say? Embrace the time that you're here. You're here to learn about the coolest thing out there, the coolest subject out there, and that's technology. Technology is so hot now. Everybody wants to see what the latest thing in tech is. I'm a big fan of technology. Anytime something new comes out, I want to embrace it. That's why I started using Uber, because it's cool. Well, that's one of the reasons I started using Uber. I think the real reason I started using Uber is I just woke up one morning and said, okay, who does not have my credit card information on file? Oh, this virtual transportation company. Good. So people think, that's why people use Uber. Just the coolest thing in the world. You know, the fact that it's tech-oriented, everything bad about Uber, people are like, forget it. You know, you walk up to somebody and go, that guy from Uber could be a mass murderer. I know, but he's 3 blocks away. Isn't that cool? Look at that. Yeah, embrace technology because you are in a business that is going to so impact future generations. You know, your kids are so into technology. My kids, I have 2 children, and they're so into it. And they're way more into it than I am. They're so much smarter than I am. And I'm starting to learn of things I shouldn't do. For example, here's one thing. I've learned never ever give my phone to my children. Because once you do, your kids will start messing with it. And then you have no idea what they did. I got an iPhone. I come home, my daughter goes, "Hey, Dad, I got an iPhone. Can I see it? I just want to put this really cool photo app on it." And like an idiot, I go, "Okay, yeah." 10 seconds later, that's my new screensaver right there. Luckily, 2 can play at that game. Everybody meet my daughters. There they are, right there. That's horrible. I shouldn't put that photo up there. You know, let me put just a better family photo of them. There they are today. So anyway, folks, thank you very much, okay? Enjoy the rest of your time at the summit. Learn. See you later. Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, Vice President of Product Marketing, Jake Freivald.
Thank you, everyone. My job here is blissfully brief. I am Jake Freivald. As Vice President of Product Marketing, you may have seen me in starring roles on the from line of such emails as "please download this white paper" or "come on and check out this webcast." Today, though, I've got a very simple task. I'm here to introduce our innovation panel. And I just want to say that one of the reasons we love things like the innovation panel is that we do love working so much with our customers, we love to partner with our customers, and we love to have them come up and talk about the things that they've been doing with our technology, things that we can learn from, things that all of us in the room, whether they're Information Builders employees or whether they're our customers, that they can learn from. So we're just very proud of our customers, and this is a great way to showcase them. Today, the moderator of the panel is Maida Brown, and Maida is a data scientist herself. She actually wrote the book Data Mining for Dummies and has created workshops around storytelling for data analysts and storytelling for tech. Her expertise is primarily in the areas of helping technologists communicate with other people and in helping people with guidance when they're starting up an analytics program or enhancing an analytics program. Although she's best known for things like text mining and other forms of analytics, her first true love is statistics. Can I have a little awe? And she's going to introduce the rest of the panel today. So without further ado, I'd like a warm welcome, please, for Maida Brown and the rest of our panelists. Thank you.
Just barely.
Good morning, everybody. Let me start by introducing Peter Antonucci. He's Managing Director for Pershing of BNY Mellon Company, with management responsibility for the technology platforms on Pershing's managed investments business and business intelligence platform, as well as the technology platforms of the firm's Allbridge solutions, including Allbridge Analytics. Prior to assuming this role, Peter was the business technology officer for Pershing's managed investments business, responsible for application development and oversight of program management, project management, and quality assurance. Pete, tell us a little about your organization and your role there.
Yeah, sure. I'm Peter Antonucci, and I work at Pershing, and Pershing is a financial services organization. We manage about 1.5 trillion in global assets, and one of the things that we do is we provide a solution to about 100,000 financial professionals on our NetX 360 platform. We service about 6 million retail clients, and one thing that I'm kind of proud of is that Pershing is part of the BNY Mellon family. BNY Mellon last week celebrated its 232nd anniversary, and this weekend our founder, Alexander Hamilton, somehow managed to win 11 Tony Awards with his play. So he's also managed to remain on the $10 bill. So it's also a great time to be at BNY Mellon.
Nigesh Garteti, technology leader, data analytics and visualization, has helped several financial and healthcare organizations with enterprise-wide transformation, robotics, automation, and manage an array of technologies for data and analytics, business process management, and decision management. A hands-on technologist and a leader who's enabled organizations building strong data insights team, delivering several enterprise solutions and being ahead of the curves. He's with Ace Hardware. Tell us a bit.
Vantive.
I'm sorry?
I'm at Vantive.
Okay. Oh gosh,
It's all right.
I'm doing a bad thing. You're with Vantive. You're with Ace Hardware.
That's all right.
Please tell us about what's going on at Vantive now, what you do there as well.
Sure. Thank you, Meta. Thanks, everyone, for being here. I'm very excited. So just a little bit about myself and the things happening at Vantive, right? Because I just want to set a context so you all understand, all the crazy things we are doing at Vantive and also why we are pushing the envelope, right? So first of all, I'm the technology leader, data analytics and visualization, and I've built out a very strong center of excellence at Vantive around data analytics and visualization, right? So we're also reaching out, building out a community of excellence at this time. And the reason, one is just a little bit about Vantive, right? We are the second largest payment processing company in the United States. Talk about a little bit of the numbers. We process somewhere around 20 to 25 billion transactions a year, and we have tens and thousands of merchants and FIs that we deal with, right? So now, just add them together, we have a lot of data, a lot of restricted data, right? So one is we need to have very good reporting solutions, right? We want to make sure our financial numbers are right, our operational data is looking right? We are pulling the right reports for the right decision making, right? So that's on one side. I also have the belief that data analytics is very powerful, right? If we are processing this for all this organization, there's a lot of value add we can bring to our customers, our merchants, right? You just add like 2 or 3 sources of data, some external third-party data, you're now bringing powerful information out of this, right? So with that in mindset, Vantive is actually working pretty hard on a data and reporting strategy. And I lead the reporting strategy of it and built out this powerful center of excellence, one, but also pushing out a lot of reporting solutions and also analytic solutions, which we'll talk in a little bit. Again, thanks everyone for being here. Well, I'm excited to share more information.
And our third panelist, Mike Minzing, is an IT director for Ace Hardware and is in charge of business intelligence and enterprise data management. He's responsible for business intelligence, analytics, data integrity, and application integration technologies. And he has over 30 years in the retail industry working on enterprise system planning, supply chain, and e-commerce system. Mike, what's happening with your organization and your role there?
Okay, so I work at Ace Hardware Corporation, and Ace Hardware, as you may know, is a hardware home improvement industry. Our stores are independently owned and operated. So what's interesting about Ace is the stores being independent, they actually own the corporation, so we are a co-op. So Ace has 4,900 retailers in all 50 states and in 61 countries. We are a $4.6 billion business. Now, when we say 4.6 billion, we're talking about wholesale sales. So wholesale sales is what we're selling to our retailers, and then the retailers will be going out and selling that to consumers. So our business represents the $4.6 billion. If you look at our business, what we're about is convenience, service, and quality. So if you look at from a convenient locations, 75% of the population is within 15 miles of an Ace Hardware. And from a quality perspective, we have some unbelievable brands. We have Craftsman, Weber, Valspar, Toro, all these brands, really the quality of what we sell is outstanding. People always ask me, how do you compete with the big boxes? Small little businesses competing with big boxes. You got to realize is that the big boxes are into home renovation. We're into home preservation. fix, repair, replace. You go to the big boxes, you're going to do a big project, spend $30,000, redo your kitchen. You come to Ace, you're going to spend $30, put a coat of paint on it, and make your house look better. So it's just a little bit of a different view on things. Also with Ace is, you've heard, Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks. Our vision as a company is to be the most helpful hardware store on the planet. And this is something that is just resonating throughout the organization. We're very proud to announce that last Tuesday, we had won the J.D. Power Award for 10 years in a row for #1 in customer satisfaction for the home improvement industry. Thank you. Anita?
So we have here a panel that's very diverse. Okay, we have folks dealing with business to consumer and also business to business. You're going to see as we speak that each of them is dealing with a different aspect of the business or many different aspects of the business and different ways of bringing analytics into that and using it to suit the needs of their particular users to get things done in a style that suits the user. So we're bending the analytics at the dashboards and the ways of doing things to the users and not the other way around. Let me start with something that Mike, you and I spoke about, and sort of the economic backdrop for retail and for hardware in particular, and what's been going on with that over, say, the past decade, and sort of how did that spark you to be interested in using analytics? What does it drive?
So first, when you look at the retail industry right now, the retail industry is very tough. You look at first quarter results for retailers, and no one is reporting very positive sales. You see, Sports Authority going out of business. So retail is tough, and why is that? What's happening is you've got Amazon, Wayfair, Jet. They're selling to consumers. And if you even look at Amazon, just the way that they're building out their supply chain, putting in $1.2 million distribution centers right outside of population areas. And then what's happening is Amazon Prime, you're going to get free delivery, and they're going to ship directly to stores within 2 days. So that whole industry in terms of what's happening in retail, the whole digital versus what's happening from a more of the brick and mortars is changing.
Pete, so what's driving the growth and use of analytics in your organization?
Yeah, so, Mita, what we see is that advisors want to prove their value to their end customer. Okay. And more and more, they're becoming dependent on analytics. And one of the things that we're taking a long look at is risk, is how much risk people are taking in their portfolios. Mm-hmm. And is the level of risk that they're taking commensurate with the types of investments that they're making. We're also seeing that our internal users are demanding more persona-based analytics, where we have these 100,000 people leveraging our platform, but they're all playing specific roles. And we had to come up with a way that we could present dashboards, but yet flex those dashboards to the role that the person that signed in was using it. Yeah. So.
And can you expand a little on the roles, because you really have a very varied assortment
Sure.
of users.
So we have advisors, we have their assistants, we have branch office managers, compliance managers. There's probably about 12 different roles that we need to build and test for with every build that we do. And what that does is it creates some complexity, but it also creates a platform where when users are coming into our system, they feel like they're getting the information that they need just in time for what their usage is.
Now, complexity is something that I, in my experience, have found most organizations have a great deal of, whether they intended to do something in a complex way or not. So let me just take a little show of hands. How many of your organizations are producing like many reports, and different departments creating their own things, and from any source, right? A very common problem. So, tell me a little more about what problem you faced with that, because the scale is pretty staggering, and how you dealt with it.
Sure, definitely. So, basically, there are a couple of things going on, right? So, Vantiv is in the payment processing industry. So, we have lots of data with us, and then a lot of internal teams, right? Many business lines, right? Each one needs their own reports, set of reports, to look for efficiencies, look for what's going on in their particular lines. So what I saw last year.
So tell us about how many
I'm getting
reports.
there. So what we saw last year is we were actually trying to consolidate our data structures. We're also trying to bring efficiency into the reporting layers, right? So we saw for internal reports about somewhere between 30 to 40,000 reports sitting on our internal servers. This is across all the business lines. Now you talk about redundancy in data, you talk about quality, and then also the assurance is the report that we are pulling is right, and how much of confidence we can say that this report is extracting the right data, right? So that's the challenge we had. Looking at this tens and thousands of reports internal, and then now we're also looking at our external reports. There's quite a lot there, right? So that's one of the things we're working on, try to, as part of the data and reporting strategy, bring efficiency within our lines of business, but providing them the right set of tools.
All right, so you started with tens of thousands of reports, and where have you come from there?
So let's say we are pretty close to completing our phase 1 of reports migration. And in about 2 weeks or less, we would have been done with one of our largest customer base within the organization. A good example is just for this particular business line, we saw around 2,700 reports. We narrowed it down to 10 plus info apps and some info assets. That's it.
So what does it mean to Vantiv to reduce 2,700 reports to 10 apps?
Yeah. So basically, I have 3 things, right? So one is it's not just consolidating the reports, right? So one is the real problem why we had this much of reports. The other is what other secondary problem it has introduced into the organization, right? So when we go into this particular journey of let's go clean up the reports, let's bring a nice set of tools for our customers, we're also keeping a lens into the future, right? How do we prevent people from pulling wrong information? How do we provide self-service capabilities for them? And then also, how do we prevent this tons and thousands of reports that are being created? So that's critical for Vantiv, because if you can imagine, right, it's not just addressing internal needs. At some point, we want to also get to creating a lot of data products, monetization solutions. If we don't clean up the internal issue, we're never going to have the bandwidth to go focus on the other stuff. So doing this for me is really a lot of governance, a lot of quality, and then also foundational, right? We're building a very strong foundation, and like the presenter this morning said, I can go build as many floors as I want once I'm done with this. So that's the vision we have, and it's working out so far.
So, governance is a big part of what made that change so desirable, right? And speaking as a data analyst, I can tell you data analysts are not highly respectful of governance issues. And often it's simply because they're not so aware. So I'm going to, let's see who responds first, but I want to sort of throw that to Mike and Pete and say, what do you see? How does that play out in your organization?
First. Well, when you talk about data governance for ACE, is that a lot of the way that we control the data governance is what we provide, what we give the access to our retailers or to our corporate employees. So a lot of the things we have is a lot of custom reports and guided ad hoc, which basically has the governance built in, where on a guided ad hoc you ask the questions, so you keep some of those bad data things from happening. But we then also have about 100 users which we would consider power users that we trust, that we would say, hey, you can go out, do more direct access with the data, and we trust you. When we build in systems and we want to go get them tested, those are the ones that validate that they're correct. So that's sort of the way we deal with data governance.
So, so let's dig a little deeper with what you've got going on at ACE there. Okay. So you described to me in an earlier conversation like a real fundamental business issue that ACE was facing with sales. You want to talk to us a little bit about that?
So as we were looking at our strategy going into, and I'm going to say 2009, we were coming off of about 7 or 8 years where we were having decreased transaction, decreased same-store sales, or decrease in number of stores. So that was one of those things that when you're seeing a decrease like that, how are you going to survive? Just if you look at same-store sales, we had 5 years where we had a decrease in same-store sales, or I think the other year was like 1% same-store sales. So that was a very big problem with us, is how are we going to survive? Because if you look at the way that a retailer works, is you are based on same-store sales and new store growth. That's the way you keep going. And if you, for ACE in particular, when you lose that, what we were losing was market share, and then we were also losing our buying power. I mentioned earlier we're a wholesaler. So what we have to do as a wholesaler, our buying power is how we get the deals, better pricing, so that we can sell that to our retailers.
So how did you go about using analytics to start tackling that?
So from an analytics perspective, what we had done is we were looking at what were our best retailers doing. So we were using the data that we had, so like the point of sale data, looking at what were the things that those retailers were doing. So some of the things that our data did, and realized there was a lot of hypothesis of this is what you should do or this is what you should do. So just a couple examples of what we had landed. And we actually landed on, here's the 15 things you should do. I won't cover all 15 of those. I'll just cover a couple of them. But one of them is we have ACE Rewards. Our best retailers were executing ACE Rewards. That's a customer, you have your ACE Rewards card. That was a way for us to do direct marketing with them. So that was one of the things that we were doing. The other thing is to fulfill the brand promise. Our best retailers were Helpful Certified. And so what does Helpful Certified mean? We had a program out there to say, this is the things that you should be doing to be helpful. This is the training you should give your retail associates. So that would be the second thing. The third thing would be assortments. And this is where you got into a little bit of, as you were going through the analytics of it, what assortments should you be doing? And when we were looking at that, there was at first the thought that buy exactly what we tell you to do. Use all the same assortments that we have. And the reality is the retailers being independently owned and knowing their business, we were saying, do these assortments with some of those exceptions that are more localized. What are the localized things that you have? One of the retailers, Jeremy Melnick in Chicago, he has 7 Chicago stores. His plumbing is a little bit different than maybe a traditional corporate store would be. Mm-hmm. We actually, of our 4,900 stores, not one store has the same assortment. And so the last thing that we had was that in terms of business is going after those small businesses in your communities, the churches, the park districts, the local contractors, establishing relationships with them and then being able to sell to them on a little bit of a discount. So those are the 4 things. There's another 11, but those are the 4 things that we really use the data to help us decide that those are the things that people should do.
Okay. And also, sort of in this theme of suiting the way the analytics is presented to the very varied user groups, is that in some cases, what you're describing, when you're providing that advice, that is a form of digested data, right? You have analysts in your headquarters who are, in fact, taking data and working with it all the way down to here is specific advice, which you're offering to people in terms that they can understand.
Yes, and if you look at it, when we did this 8 years ago, actually, one of the people that was doing it was at this conference. And they didn't spend much time in the conference because they were getting constant requests to say, I want you to go look at this data mine this. I think the answer is if you do ACE rewards, this is going to work. So a lot of that was trial and error to see what actually did the data tell you, and did that actually generate what we were looking for in terms of store performance.
Wow. You mentioned, Mike, this issue of business changing. Disruption, a very popular term right now. You're in a business-to-consumer world, and we're all very keenly aware of things that are happening because we're all consumers. But Pete, let me ask you about the other side of that. I think a lot of the work that you've described is essentially anticipating the possibility of disruption and keeping up to date. How do you feel that pressure?
Well, you know, just to touch on one of the things we were just discussing with data governance, I just want to mention, you know, at Allbridge we are a data aggregator, and our role in the industry is really to give clients a complete view of their financial picture. So a client might go to their main advisor, and that advisor will be with a custodian, but they may have business from many other different sources. And every night we're collecting about 50,000 files from different financial services organizations. And one of the issues that clients began, I would say, chirping about was data quality. And one of the things that we needed to do was really look at our role in the industry and see what was the source of the data quality. And because we're providing them with financial reports, they're assuming the data quality problem was sourced from us. And what we needed to do was we actually identified 8 different sources of data quality issues. And we created an index that we could look at each broker-dealer that we service, and we could actually create a scorecard for them. And what that did was that gave us the ability to share that. So when we had our client conference, we actually did a session on data quality, and we handed them their scorecard. And it gave them the ability to look through their data and see where the actual source of the issue was. And if it was with a particular fund company or, you know, whatever data provider that client was using, we were able to point that out to them. And now we have this ongoing quarterly meeting with them. We present them their scorecards, and it's actually able to improve data quality across the industry because we've been able to expose what firms probably didn't have the best data quality in their overnight feeds.
Suppose data quality issues across the industry. I think we're all very concerned about data quality issues in your industry, which brings us back to credit cards and credit processing. Nagash, what's the risk to Vantiv if you do not do the work that you're doing right now? What could possibly go wrong? Right? Why? Right? What kinds of things could happen to the organization if you don't do the work that you do, improving data quality, simplifying processes?
I mean, like with every organization, right, you need to ensure quality. One is you also need to make sure the reports are looking right for the right decision, for the right reporting out, right? So point blank for me, governance, data quality along the way, you know, these are constructs that needs to be in there. Now, to talk about the bigger picture, when we talk about all the merchants who've been with us, all the FIs who've been with us, right, we not only take care of their processing, but we're also, in a way, their advisors, right? We look at, keep the sensitivity of the data aside, right? When you aggregate the data, cleanse them, and then try to predict some kind of insights from it, when you go tell your client, say, this is where your next store could be, or this is where you're losing, right? Or some of those actionable insights to them, that's a value add, right? So as much as we want to bring in new merchants, new FIs, we also want to make sure what kind of data products we have in our ecosystem so that we can retain our merchants. We're also providing the value add services to them. So you can look at it as a risk if you don't do this right. You're not looked upon as the strategic partner, but you can look at it as an opportunity where this industry is hot, right? There's so many new disruptive innovations coming out, and as a leader, if you're always ahead of the game trying to bring these kind of mindset solutions, they're always going to be partnered with you and then say, this is a great company, and I'm glad to be part of them for the next couple of years. So I would either look at it as a risk or as an opportunity, but you got to balance both. So that's basically what we have in our mindset.
All right, let me throw this one open for anyone. Tell us about a challenge that you faced in your analytics journey, as a gentleman I used to say, that you really didn't expect. You know, when did you bump up against a wall and have something go wrong that you weren't expecting, and what did you do?
I can go first.
Okay.
So I'd mentioned we have tons and thousands of reports. Company, many companies, I'm not just going to invent it for here, but many companies have always worked with traditional reporting, right? Traditional data marts, data warehouses, and for every report you just put some kind of framework, right? So now we are moving more into self-service kind of governed data, version data, control data, and also trying to monetize on the data, right? So it's a complete shift from traditional BI into more of data analytics, right? So it's like, it's always an extra effort to make sure, it's not what I just believe in, what my team believes in, it also bringing my internal business together, show them all the various capabilities. Why are we doing this? It's not for me, not for you, it's for all of us together. So it's encouraging them to have their patience, work with us, and then when we go and comment on a particular data instance or a report that's not looking right, you just want to make sure that they're following you along, and then you're also getting the feedback from them pretty constantly. So that to me is the number one, right? We all agree upon data quality issues. We all agree upon, the need, this needs to happen. But if you look at your end user, they've been working with reports. Now, how do you bring them into more of an analytics, predictive kind of mindset, right? So as much as I'm learning, I'm also encouraging my business partners to learn, go with me. So that's, again, a big challenge for me, but we are working on that quite a bit.
Gosh, that went off. It sounds like it went so well. Did it always go so well for you guys?
Yeah, so one of the things that I began to realize is that, I really thought all the senior managers in our organization knew the products that were on our platform. And I began to realize that through some little comments that they were making that, they really didn't understand a lot of what was on the platform. And so we knew that they needed something that was more visual in the reports that they were using. And so we really went on an effort to build certain dashboards for different areas of the business where we saw opportunity. And one of the platforms we created was this concept called Opportunity View. And it's really for our stock loan business. And what it helps us do is identify opportunities for clients to earn more revenue on their portfolio. It also gives the advisor an opportunity to also earn income, and allows us to earn some revenue. So what it does is it basically gives you a graphical view of actually a branch office's entire book of business. And you could identify accounts that have securities in it that are that are basically hard to borrows, and those are actually securities that would produce revenue if we could put them out to loan. So in those cases, the advisors would actually get this dashboard, and they could see right away that they had an opportunity, that they could help their clients earn more revenue, they could help themselves earn more revenue. And it turned out to be a big hit for us, because everybody was, happy that
Revenue's a motivator.
off of existing assets, they were able to earn more revenue.
So we have time for 1 or 2 questions from the audience. And if someone's out there with mics ready to come and find you. I see the people moving around. We have a lot of light shining on us, so I can't completely see the activity out there.
Yeah.
Hi there, this is Gurpreet Atwal. I'm representing MasterCard here. I can't stand up, so I'm going to sit down. So one of the key things that I think is important, but which wasn't touched upon in the panel, is the fact that the 3 panelists are from very different industries. On one side is hardware, then there's an investment company, and then Vantive, which is playing in the acquiring space and a lot of other spaces. These people, in general, right, the data services that we have, we are an auxiliary business. We exist because of our core businesses, right? Ace Hardware, for example, they're trying to sell hardware, buy low from a wholesale model perspective. And on the other side, Vantive from a payment processing and all those perspectives. We are, in the end, a services industry. And I want to kind of understand from the panelists how they view the internal customers from both an information needs perspective and the trends perspective. Because in the end, we are trying to serve them through the data needs of how they can run the business better.
I can take that question. So, a good question, right, first of all. So, when we are talking about integrations, I'll just talk about into the various databases, right? So, we got to do the reports, right? So that's absolutely out there. So you need to connect to the databases, let it be Oracle, mainframes, doesn't matter. But you still need to have the integrations, the patterns. But look at today, right? Data analytics. No one can ignore that this is taking the industry by storm, right? You got to look at social media, streaming, visual analytics, predictive analytics. As simple as, I want to see how my servers are behaving. Where's my operation? So future state, right, I could have a lot more integrations, right? It could be coming through the lake, going through more structured domain. That's all good, but for most immediate needs, I might want to just consume from the social media, right? So that's something that we have enabled, right? In the last 6 months or so, we've looked at what are all the things that are needed for a company like Vantive. We would need to run some social campaigns, marketing campaigns. We also need to look into these other data sources. It could be web services. And when we look at that roadmap view, it's crystal clear that, these are the critical elements we need today, but also these are the other things that we believe will help the company. So we also add that into our agenda and then work on it. So I don't know if I answered your question, but we look at internally ourselves as integrators too, right? How do we enable the company? How do we enable ourselves, provide all those integrations? That's what we do.
That's very helpful. The follow-up question that I would like to ask is, right, what we have been significantly focused on is the technical aspect of it. What I would like to understand is how the business enablement of enabling the core business to grow based on the analytics that we are driving off these rich data sets. How does that play into your roadmap?
Can you hear it?
Yeah, I didn't quite get that question though. Sorry.
Sorry, here, I got this.
Oh, sorry.
Now, what I was saying is beyond the core technical integration, right? In the end, we are building all of these data assets, analytically rich data sets to grow our core business, right?
Right.
My question was beyond the idea that we are trying to stream from the social media or the internal data assets or varied data sources. The core impact is we take these analytics, give it to the core business, and help them grow, right? Whether that is making more investments, finding better portfolios, finding the best-selling Ace Hardware stores, or in Inventive's case, finding the best merchants, or whichever that is. My question is, how does that aspect play into your roadmap of what you're going to integrate, how soon you're going to integrate, what data quality measures you're going to take? Because we could build the best data assets. If they're not enabling our core business, we have a base problem.
You're right on, right? So it's not no IT decision here, right? So we are here to serve the company, to serve my business lines, enable them, right? So one of the things I had mentioned before is build that community of intelligence, community of excellence, right? So when we think we could bring out a capability, it could be as simple as responsive design. For IT, it's just like different gadgets, right? But for business, you can now take it wherever you are and then make decisions and then also ship out active technologies or in-document analytics, right? So these are things that I think in my roadmap as technology integrations, I can make it. But I also need to encourage the business. What we do is roadshows, tech expos within the organization. We take these things to our business lines, show to them what we have as a concept, and now they run it, process those things, provide some use cases to us, and then now we make a full solution out of it. Some of it we own, some of it the business try to do it with the base platform we are providing, but we work together, right? So in order to answer your question, it needs to be that bi-directional feedback going on, regardless of it's within the company or you're a data provider somewhere or a service provider. If we don't have the feedback at the right time, none of these things we are doing matters.
Let me pick it up there. Mike, you told us about having faced years of declining same-store sales and needing to turn that around. Tell us about how management input and the analytics played together.
So when you talked about that, so what we were doing, so when you say same-store sales, it's one of those, you go, yeah, no doubt you have to increase same-store sales. But what you have to look at is what are the things you have to provide the different business areas to drive those same-store sales. So if you would look at from a corporate user perspective, the data, the dashboards, the ability to make sure you have good assortments. So those things, making sure that you're getting those right product mixes out there. One of the things we had was demoed yesterday is this lost sales dashboard. And what it's doing is predicting lost sales so that you will stop the lost sales from happening. So if we want to generate sales with our retailers, we have to have the products. From a vendor community, we have our vendors come in about 1,200 times a month. And a perfect example of what we have is we have a report card that's telling them, how are you performing with ACE? So an example would be we service our retailers at 96.7%. So of 1,000 times they order from us, 967 we're filling from them. Our vendors are servicing us at about 62%, and this was 5 years ago. Now with these report cards, they didn't realize, they didn't have visibility into the fact that they weren't servicing us very well. Now they're at 75%. And that there also, we provide them with the projections. So the projections is, we're telling them in advance, this is what we're gonna buy from you in the next week, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, based on our inventory, our demand, what we see happening. So that's how we deal with it from a vendor perspective. And then from a retailer perspective, our number one report that is run in the corporation is this assortment report that says, what is the assortment that you have and what should you have? So we're driving the analytics, and through Web Focus, we operationalize these things. We make them very executable for the different business areas. So when you say same-store sales, that you have to get it down to what does that mean to an individual business.
Final question, Meta. Final
Excuse
question.
me. Let me follow up on this for just a moment. And how are your sales now?
So if you would look at our last 3 years of sales, we have had record-setting top line and profits for the last 3 years. And that's in for a 92-year-old company.
All right. So that's playing right into our business needs, not just having cool numbers, but really playing into business needs. Our time has ended. I want to thank Najesh Gotetti of Vantive, Peter Antonucci of Pershing, a BNY Mellon company, and Mike Minzing of Ace Hardware. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
the Information Builders Awards of Distinction. Recognize excellence and innovation in packaging and leveraging Information Builders technologies in solving today's complex data-driven challenges. Their commitment to empowering decision makers and decision-making has made them leaders in their respected fields, and the applications they build and solutions they provide have helped organizations expand their reach, serve their customers more extensively, and achieve better ROI.
Ladies and gentlemen, Global Director of Public Relations, Kathleen Moran, and once again, Gerry Cohen.
We're thrilled to announce the award.
Allegis Global Solutions is a subsidiary of Allegis Group, the largest privately held staffing company in the United States. AGS transforms how businesses acquire talent with a culture that is passionate about great talent, delivering innovative, client-focused solutions in markets across the globe. Allegis and its 31 operating companies have extended web-focused dashboards to a large portion of their workforce, and they continue to roll out new functionality to thousands of users every day. Their robust analytic environment features exciting functionality and spectacular content, streamlining the operation and giving Allegis a competitive edge against other staffing companies. WebFocus is their enterprise standard for historical reporting, and they are in the process of rolling out predictive analytics using RStat. Congratulations, Allegis Global Solutions, for your rapid progress with this large and impressive enterprise BI implementation.
Accepting on behalf of AGS is Tim Johnson.
AutoZone is the leading retailer and a leading distributor of automotive replacement parts and accessories in the United States. They wanted to roll out a flexible analytics environment to thousands of stores without burdening field workers with custom software or complex report procedures. With the help of information builders, they worked with their existing computers, databases, and information systems to create a self-service reporting and analytics system that casual users can adopt quickly. Now, AutoZone's web-based analytics environment delivers accurate information throughout the enterprise and helps to automate key business processes from store operations to customer satisfaction reporting. And this is why AutoZone is being awarded with an Information Builders Award of Distinction.
Accepting on behalf of AutoZone is Robert Munez, David Strickland, and Octavio Martinez.
The city of Irving is the 13th largest city in Texas. They wanted to make it easier for city officials and department staffs to monitor the city's performance and trends. With WebFocus, the city used performance metrics to identify opportunities for improvement, incorporating process improvement methodologies and innovative approaches that resulted in more than $44 million in cost savings, more than 50,000 hours of increased productivity, and $25 million in increased revenues. Irving is one of just 2 municipalities to have received the Malcolm Baldrige Award, the highest presidential honor given to organizations that exhibit performance excellence. And this is why the city of Irving is being awarded with an Information Builders Award of Distinction.
Accepting on behalf of City of Irving is Amy Kasek.
For over 75 years, many of the most complex financial institutions in the world have chosen to work with Pershing for their financial business solutions. A division of Bank of New York Mellon, Pershing helps to power and maximize opportunities for advisors, broker-dealers, family offices, hedge and fund managers, investment advisor firms, and wealth managers. With WebFocus, Pershing delivers targeted analytical information to over 80,000 business advisors without requiring them to learn complex technology. With the help of WebFocus, accurate information is delivered in real time, improving the customer experience. This is why Pershing is being awarded with an Information Builders Award of Distinction.
Accepting on behalf of Pershing is Peter Antonucci. No.
St. Luke's University Health Network is a nonprofit, regional, fully integrated, nationally recognized network providing services at 6 hospitals and more than 200 sites, primarily in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. St. Luke's chose OmniPatient and other information builders technologies to roll out an enterprise data warehouse and business intelligence platform. Thanks to the capabilities of OmniPatient and an innovative agile implementation approach that includes multiple parallel data governance, master data management, data integration, and analytics deployment projects, St. Luke's was able to integrate 18 major data sources and deploy 25 business intelligence applications to several hundred users in just 12 months. This platform helps clinical and administrative users to better understand population needs, deliver consistent care, and improve operational performance throughout the health network. The advancement of healthcare analytics is a strategic objective for St. Luke's to support value-based healthcare.
Accepting on behalf of St. Luke's is Amanda Mazza, Dan Foltz, and Jeremy Kale.
Cloudera delivers modern data management built on Apache Hadoop and the latest open source technologies. The world's leading organizations trust Cloudera, the fastest, easiest, and most secure data platform available for our modern world. Our joint customers efficiently capture, store, cleanse, master, and analyze vast amounts of data, empowering them to use advanced analytics to drive business decisions quickly, flexibly, and at a lower cost than has been possible before. Information Builders values the partnership with Cloudera and proudly awards them the Business Partner of the Year Award.
Accepting on behalf of Cloudera is Tim Stevens and Dan Wilson.
Engage I2 focuses beyond the traditional path of business intelligence, data warehousing, and interoperability solutions by leading with discovery to uncover the power of data. They drive change through innovative data insight, analytics, master data management, big data, and consulting services so that clients don't get caught in the silo approach of tools, but are able to discover true data-driven decisions. Engage I2 partners with Information Builders on WebFocus Business User Edition and WebFocus and iWay implementations. Their drive and excellence with customers makes them Information Builders Reseller Partner of the Year.
Accepting on behalf of Engage High 2 is Dean Hodgson. Thank you, everyone. This concludes our award ceremony.
Thank you very much, Kathleen. Thank you, Gerry. Well, that concludes our general session. We actually ended on time. Yay! Yeah. So you guys actually have some time before lunch begins in the Solutions Pavilion at 12:15. We will see you there. Please, please, please enjoy the rest of your day and learn, and have fun. Thank you.
We'd like to play a special version of our famous song dedicated to Gerry. So don't go away yet, and dancing is allowed. Let's go. Thank you very much. Gerry. Gerry, who can I turn to? You give us something we can hold on to. Tried to call you before, but I lost my nerve. I tried my imagination, but I was disturbed. Gerry, I got your number. I need to make you mine. Gerry, don't change that number. 8675309. Come on now. 8675309. 8675309. 8675309. Yeah, shake it. Gerry, you're the man for me. All that information makes us so happy. I tried to call you before, but I lost my nerve. I tried my imagination, but I was disturbed. Gerry, I got your number. I need to make you mine. Gerry, don't change your number. 8675309. Come sing now. 8675309. 8675309. 8675309. I got it. I guess you never out the wrong. I got it for a good time, for a good time. Stand up. Come on, let's rock. Give me some more. Yeah. Gerry, don't change your number. I need to make you mine. Gerry, I call your number. 8675309. 8675309. 8675309. There's your dance part. 8675309. Gerry, who can I turn to? 8675309. For the price of a dime, I can always turn to. 8675309. 8675309. 8675309. 8675309. 8675309. 8675309.
here, right, Gerry? Once again, Tommy Tutone.
And Gerry Cohen. And we're back.
Thank you very much for joining us here in Reno for Summit 2016. I'm here with my co-host, Melissa Treier. My name is Freivald. I'm excited this afternoon. Winding up the opening session.
I was like, that was fantastic, wasn't it? Wasn't it just fantastic? Did you just not, no one heard what you just said? Why don't you do it again?
We are so excited to be back here in Reno for Summit 2016. I'm Jake Freivald. This is my co-host, Melissa Treier. You lovely and talented. You ever notice they never say guys are lovely and talented?
No, because usually
it
no,
really doesn't work. I'm not lovely. It doesn't work
Except
that way.
for this guy, maybe it works.
You lovely and talented, Chris Banks.
Anyway, fantastic, right?
Good stuff.
That's me. 6. The only thing I'm going to be singing
that all damn day.
We all are going to be singing that song all day today.
So true.
Probably the entire week.
So true. Rumor has it that that's an old Focus license key or something like that. So you can try plugging it in as you're installing the software if you want to. Problem is it's only software from the 80s. None of these are funny jokes, people. Don't expect it to get any better either.
So
None.
listen, recap. What a fantastic,
good sessions.
The whole thing.
Good sessions.
A lot of good stuff, right?
Yep.
The comedian, it's always good to have a little comic relief. He was fun.
Kick it off with a little humor, and it's very funny. You know, you pull snippets from the website. He's like, the jokes practically write themselves. I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe I'm going to go back and tweak that.
I know.
Change it up a little bit. But he's very funny.
He was very funny. No, he did a great job. You introduced the panel.
And
wow, some really insightful and incredible things being done by those panelists.
So they're just high-powered people, high-powered like mentally, high-powered people who really understand their business problems. They understand the environment that they're working with. They understand the kind of the strictures that they're under, but also the things that they have to do to expand what they're doing. And it came out, I think, in that panel pretty well.
I do too. And then the awards, my favorite part.
Yep.
I mean, can't get any better than that.
And you know, it's funny too, because we do have a lot of nominations for those awards, and people, you know, the number of things that people are doing with our technology, the people who are nominated, the articulation of the value that they're bringing to their organizations is really high. So to try to winnow out from all of those entries, you know, the core that get them is pretty tough to do. But clearly these are very strong customers. AutoZone's been doing amazing things. And you heard what some of those things were. We had Pershing. It was another one that's been actually a customer for a very long time.
Customer, absolutely, yeah.
That's been doing that.
Well, you were talking earlier about, you know, one of the reasons why you love Information Builders. One of the reasons why I love this company, and I've been here as long as I have, and it was really brought out in the awards, is really the different types of organizations that we can help and we can work with. There really is no limit there.
Right.
So company size doesn't matter to us. You know, small company, large companies,
what kind of industry
all
you're in,
sectors,
absolutely.
doesn't matter to us. I mean, we really can find value and fit across any level and type of organization, and that keeps what we do a lot of fun. Because it's not a cookie cutter by any stretch of the imagination. Every application is different, every need is different, and then our ability to go in and basically satisfy anything that we really need to do, it's really fantastic.
So
that's really one of the things that keeps me going for sure.
And I know you get out you're in the field all the time. I'm in the field a lot less. But one of the more interesting things about going into the field is that you come in with a set of, you know, ideas about what you might be doing to help, and then the more the conversation happens, the more interesting things it turns out. Oh, well, there's also this problem over here that we can probably solve. And oh, you know what? I did something in a different industry, we did something in a different industry that fits this problem. Let's see if we can adjust it to fit that. It's really interesting stuff. It keeps the job so much more interesting than it would be if it were cookie cutter, as you put it.
Absolutely, so much fun. So lots to go on the rest of the summit. Should we talk about a little bit about what's going to be happening?
We can do that a little bit, or Chris will yell at us if we don't. Chris Boylan, in this case, our executive producer.
Yeah, I think we should talk a little bit
about
about
what's going on. Has to be a trailer for the rest of the conference, he says, right?
I'm going to have to put my glasses on, though. This is the only part I hate about doing this.
No, I know. I'm
so we have, I was counting for 8 different tracks. That are running simultaneously throughout the entire summit.
Can I say 2 of them are customer spotlights, just to give you a feel for how much our customers are presenting here.
Just keep in mind, the audience has no ability to view any of these sessions.
No, we get that.
I know,
But she
but
said
you know,
8,
it just kinda
and I
gives-
said 2.
it gives
We were
you-
being very
it gives you-
specific.
yeah, it gives you an idea of what's happening. But I mean, customers, like just a few customers. MasterCard we heard about, Allegis we heard about, Black Knight Financial we talked a little bit
Right.
about earlier, their presentation of the Advisory Council, St. Luke's,
Yep.
University Health Network, Fidelity, Principal, and then you have a small healthcare organization, Queensway, Carleton Hospital. And are we going to have our
Might have a special
CEO
guest.
join us? We would love to have you join us. We didn't.
Let's make a little bit of
we
space.
weren't sure. Come on up, Gerry.
Well, let's get Gerry in first.
So, Gerry? Yes. You can hold the microphone very close to your raspy voice. Thank you. It's very sexy.
Can you all hear my raspy voice?
Yes, hopefully that's good. So, you have more of a voice today than you had yesterday.
But not enough.
But not enough.
No,
Not enough.
probably
no,
not.
for sure, for sure.
It happens.
I think the guys did a pretty good job, though.
They did a pretty good job.
Pretty good job. Just so everybody out there knows, a pretty good job from Gerry Cohen is a very fine compliment.
Yeah,
Just saying.
definitely 2 thumbs up, for sure. Definitely.
Is the
2
power
thumbs
on the
up.
mic? Nope.
Okay, now you can hear my raspy voice.
There you go.
All right.
And he was just saying,
Pretty good
they
job.
did okay. Not as good as you. Never, no one could ever take your place. But
Well, what we have, I had different content. You know, I like to explain things more. But it flowed very nice.
it did. It really did. And we were talking about, the comedians. Always good to have comic relief.
He was a very good comedian.
He was funny. He was very good.
More laughs than I think we've ever had from a comedian.
Yeah, he did a nice job.
And the music was terrific. I don't know. I would say there's quite a number of people who stayed to hear the final beat.
To hear Tommy Tutone. We noticed you up there dancing on stage with
Well, he-
Sarah Cook, too.
He was singing Jerry
We have photos.
Jerry.
We're sending them to Pam.
No, the song was called Jerry Jerry.
Oh, Jerry instead of Jenny Jenny. Very
He
nice.
adapted
Very
just
nice.
for you.
Yeah, it was nice.
He actually was nice enough to come and join us as well on the break.
Good.
So we did a little interview with him. So that was a lot of fun.
He was one of the better bands that we've had, if you ask me. It was
Absolutely.
a nice 80s.
Yeah.
Either that or the audiences for the 80s.
That could be a little bit too. Well, the other thing, he's interested in learning more about our technology. So maybe we'll make him into a customer one of these days.
He's a specialist in data warehousing.
Yeah. And out of Portland, he said. Portland, Oregon.
Yep, Portland, Oregon.
So when I told him that we had a rep that lives right there and works with all of our customers, he was maybe interested. So we may make him a customer. We're talking about you, Tommy, making you a customer ultimately. So
I need some intelligence.
He said, I am a customer. God knows I need some intelligence. Off mic, but that's what he said.
I just wanted to come up for a minute and say thanks again.
Oh, it was our pleasure. You did a really good job.
And you're going to give me a job now. Who's Terry?
Definitely.
Doggett, can find Terry for him.
Yes. All right. Thanks again, everybody.
Definitely. It was awesome to have
We
you.
do it every year, right?
Every year.
He was just saying how good you're the best band ever. So.
That's true. Really said it.
So we were talking about everything else that's lining up, the rest of Summit. I mean, this is just the beginning. 8 different tracks running simultaneously, 2 customer tracks. So we were reading off some of the customers that are presenting. It's unbelievable.
It's a huge show. And how many private conversations are we having with customers also?
Well, exactly. We hadn't gotten to that. So that's the published agenda. But what Gerry's talking about is we have this whole other agenda that takes place during this agenda. We're meeting one-on-one with so many of our clients. It gives them a great opportunity to meet directly with us. Talked a little bit about what they're looking to do so we can be perfectly aligned with them. So yeah, I'm lined up pretty book solid. I know Jake is. I'm sure you are.
We have around 80 of them. I think everybody on the executive team and so on is booked pretty solidly for those.
No, that's exact. There's 57, actually.
57?
57
okay.
red carpets, yeah.
But I will go to maybe just one or
Just
two.
a few.
Because I'm a silent onlooker now. Unfortunately.
But we have your dinner tonight. We host our award winners at a special dinner, President's Dinner tonight.
Is that called a silent dinner?
Well, hopefully you can rest your voice enough to do the toast tonight for us. So.
Oh, I'll arrange it.
There we
Good
go.
idea.
There, I think that would be good.
And don't
I think
forget
that would be
Ask
very
Gerry,
good.
Everyone's favorite session.
Yes.
That's true.
Well, that's Thursday afternoon, and hopefully I'll be a little stronger.
Feeling better by then.
Yeah, It's a matter of volume. I don't have the volume yet.
Right.
Yes. Well, but it was great that you were still able to welcome everyone. Jerry, it was
Thank you,
wonderful.
Jerry.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to a fantastic, thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it. Hopefully, it's good. It's good stuff,
It's good.
right? Thank
Summit's
you so
always
much,
good.
guys.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you out there again sometime.
Bye-bye.